Today, you're going to learn all about may and might, modal verbs that you need to use all the time, but you're probably afraid to do so. If you're saying sentences like, maybe I go, maybe I see a friend tonight, or it is possible I will be late, then you're saying it wrongly. Native English speakers are unlikely to use those phrases. Instead, use may and might, and today I'll show you how. These are great words that you can use in many different situations. To talk about possibility, to speculate about the past, to refuse offers, and to mildly criticize someone. You're going to learn a lot, so stay where you are. Hello and welcome to Let Them Talk, the channel that goes deeper into everything about the English language. And today we're going to look at may and might. And in this video, we're going to look at these words just in the present. For the past, might have and may have, as well as should have, would have, must have, and could have. There is another video on this subject coming soon, so look out for that. And the first question that everybody asks is, what's the difference between may and might? Well, the simple answer is, when we are talking about possibility, because remember the modal verbs can have different meanings, but when we are talking about possibility, not much. May has a slightly higher level of possibility. May 70%, might 50%, though in reality it's not quite like that. So really don't worry too much about that, okay? Also, might is more common in questions. Let's have a look. So, both may and might can be used to talk about possibility. Let's have a look at some examples using the present tense. Look at this sentence. Where's John? He's in the pub. But you can change the verb to be is in this sentence to may or might if you're not sure. He might be in the pub, okay? So get into the habit of saying he might be in the pub rather than maybe he is in the pub. So let's look at some more examples. This tea is poisoned. This tea may be poisoned. She might be the most beautiful girl I've ever seen. She may also be the most brilliant person I've ever met. Now, you can also use may and might with a continuous tense to talk about the possibility that something is happening now. The possibility that something is happening now. Why is he shouting into the phone? He might be having an argument with his girlfriend. So, just substitute is or are in a present continuous with might be. Don't call him now, it's almost midnight. She is sleeping. She is sleeping? Or you could say, she might be sleeping if you're not sure. She might be sleeping. She might be sleeping. Have you got it? Now look at this sentence. I will be a little late. Now in the sentence with will, we are talking about a certainty. My train is cancelled, I will be late. But if you want to say maybe yes, maybe no, then just change will for might. I might be a little late. I might be a little late. Simple, huh? You can also use may. I may be a little late. So, I'm sure you've studied using the future in English. You can use will, and going to, etc. But there is no future tense in English. We don't have any future verbs. However, there are different ways of expressing the future, and may and might are two of them. to talk about possibility in the future. Okay, so let's have a look at some examples. I might go to India this summer. I may have to work tomorrow. Okay, I may have to work tomorrow. So may and might are future senses too. You didn't know that, did you? Now, what about the negative? Usually for modal verbs, we can contract the negative. Okay, so for example, can becomes can't, could becomes couldn't, wouldn't, mightn't. Does that exist? Yes, but it's extremely rare. Might not is preferred. Now, if you want to say mightn't, I'm not going to stop you. I'm not going to correct you, but be aware that it's extremely rare and you should probably be using might not, okay? Mayn't, by the way, is not even a word anymore. It's obsolete. So use may not, okay? I may not go out tonight. I might not watch the game because I'm too tired. And in the same way, we can use might with the present continuous with a future meaning. I'm flying to Kiev on Wednesday. That's a certainty. I've got the ticket. I might be flying to Kiev on Wednesday. Here we are talking about the possibility of a future appointment, okay? The possibility of a future appointment. So we use might be plus verb plus ing. Another example. I may be seeing Claire tonight. We had a fight and we might not be getting married next year after all. Now, modal verbs can be made into questions. Can I have a pizza? Should I bring something to the party? Will you wait for me? But with may and might, it's different, okay? Yes, you can use may and might for questions, but only when we are asking for permission. Remember, modal verbs can have different meanings. So, for example, might I ask a question? May I open the window? That's correct, but this is not what we are talking about today. No, today we are talking about may and might for possibility, okay? And in these cases, we cannot begin a question with may or might. So, how do we make questions with may and might for possibility? It's simple. Just use do you think you might or do you think you may. The might version is much more common, by the way, so I recommend you use that, okay? For example, do you think she might go out with me if I ask her? Do you think you might be free tomorrow night? Do you think John might have the answer? So we use do you think you might to indicate to the listener that there is an uncertainty about the answer, okay? So for example, I'm sure he's wrong about this. Do you think he might change his mind? Okay, so I'm indicating an uncertainty about the response. So we use may and might. Do you think you may and might? Now, British people like to speak indirectly. Sometimes we don't like to say no directly to people. It sounds a little rude. There is a more polite way with might or I'm afraid I might or I'm afraid I might not. So for example, do you want to come dancing with me on Saturday night? I'm afraid I might not be free. Okay. Would you like to come up and see my stamp collection? I'm afraid I might have to go. I've got an early appointment tomorrow morning. Much gentler, isn't it? Sometimes we want to criticize people or tell them to do something, but we don't want to sound rude or bossy. Okay, so here we can use a sentence with you might want to. You might want to. Okay? You should study tonight and not go to the pub. Now that sounds bossy, doesn't it? So let's try the sentence again with you might want to. You know, you might want to study tonight instead of going to the pub. You've got an exam tomorrow. Sounds better, doesn't it? She's angry because you were very rude. You might want to call her and apologize. You've been complaining about your boss for years. You might want to get another job. Your computer is far too slow for this type of software. You might want to buy a faster one. Okay, so there you are. I hope you found that useful. And if you have something to say, you might want to leave a comment. Thank you for watching. Stay mellow, and I'll see you in the next video.